What is going on, everyone? It's Eagleman here, and I have a special video for you guys today breaking down my first $900 in sales of COMC. Basically, I'm going to show you guys, was it worth it using this service? I'm going to show you guys some lessons I learned and some things I'm going to change up for the next time I submit to COMC. So basically what you see in front of you here is a spreadsheet of all of my sales. These are every single trading card that I sold through COMC. And you can see I have it sorted by the amount that it's sold by. So the highest amount selling card is this 2014 Topps Update Jacob deGrom. Sold it for $60, and it shows you the sale price, the transaction fee, which I'm going to get to in a little bit, the credit that I actually received, the date it sold, the date that it was actually inputted into COMC, and then the amount of days it took to sell that card, and then the fee percentage. So it was the percentage of fees that COMC took from the value of that card for its sale price. So I'm going to break down all these stats for all 300 plus cards or so that I sold to make my $900 in sales. So here we go. So I submitted 504 total cards to COMC. And this is important to know because this comes into the cost to submit, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. So I submitted 504 cards and I sold 332 cards. So all in all, the total sale price of all 332 cards of those that I sold was $894.15, so just under $900 or so. The total transaction fee, so it cost 5% to actually sell your card. So that's not including the amount that it costs to submit the card. That's the actual sales fee that it costs. So it's 5% of $894, which is about $44.70. So the total store credit that I actually received was $849. So that's the money that actually gets into me and gets placed into your COMC store credit. Now, it's important to note that I submitted 504 cards because it costs, at the lowest level to submit your cards, it costs 50 cents per card to submit it. Regardless if that card sells or not, it costs you 50 cents to send it into COMC. So I submitted 504 cards. That cost me $252 up front, regardless if that card sold or not. So my net credit for my first $900 in sales was about $597.44. So let's break this down even further here. So the average time to sell all those cards was about 31 days, about 32 days really. So that's about a month between. That doesn't include the time for it when I put it in the package and shipped it to COMC. That includes the time from when COMC actually processed the card and put it onto their site, and from when it was listed to when it was sold, not from when I unpackaged it to when it was sold. So that's important to note. So there's actually a bit more time included into that average time to sell. The average credit per card was about $1.80. So that's really important to note once we get into the lower stats here, which I'm about to show you. So $1.80, that's not a lot per card. That's a really cheap price per card here. So the average fee percentage per card was about 33.18%. So I broke this down. I actually created my own formula to actually calculate the average fee percentage. So what I did was I took the sale price of the card, I added the 5% sales fee that's included into it, and then I subtracted 50 cents from that COMC credit. So that accounts for the 50-cent fee that is charged when that card is submitted. So I took that value, divided it by the sale price, and then that's how I found the fee percentage. Of course, I did a subtraction there to actually calculate the correct fee percentage that was taken out from that card. So the average fee percentage for all of my cards submitted was about 33%. I know what you're thinking to yourself. It's like, are you nuts? Why would you sell your cards for a 33% fee rate? And that was me too. I was thinking, whoa, this number can't be right. I must have messed up my calculations here. But I double checked everything and it was right. And it kind of makes sense that it was 33%. And here's why. My limiting factor was that I submitted a lot of lower valued cards. So I submitted cards that are worth, for the majority of them, majority of the cards I submitted were like $1, $2, $3. And so they're really cheap. So when you take 50 cents out from that dollar card, that's 50% already taken from the value of that card. So if I sold a card for $1 and they take 50 cents from that, that's 50% fee that was charged to me to sell that card. And so that's why this average fee percentage was so low. If you look at my average credit per card, that's $1.80. So that's not great. My average credit per card was pretty low. So let's just look at some takeaways here. We'll start breaking this down a bit further here. The cons of using COMC. Now, I'm a big proponent of COMC. I'll always advocate for it, but here's some cons about COMC. So there's that big hit initially with that submission fee. So I submitted that 500 plus cards. I had to pay up front $250 plus to get those cards submitted. Again, that is regardless if those cards sell. It costs you 50 cents for them to take photos of the card, to input the card into their system, and to display it onto their website, and to store the card in their own warehouses. So you're paying for that fee up front, And 50 cents per card, if you really think about it, that's quite a bit. And so it kind of limits you on what cards you can sell through COMC. You can't be selling cards that are necessarily less than 50 cents because you'll be losing money. So it's not really great for really, really cheap cards. And in addition to that, it could take a while for your cards to sell. I mean, we go back up here, we look at the 32 days for the average time for a card to sell. That's not including the time it took between when I packaged the card and sent it to COMC. There was a couple of months in between from when I packaged it to when COMC actually processed it and put it on their site. So if you're looking to sell cards in a timely manner, COMC is probably not the route to go. But there are tons and tons of pros to using COMC. So the first pro is that it clears out your inventory. So the 500 plus cards that I had sitting in here, I sent them away. They were gone. They are not in my inventory. They are not taking up space. As you can see in my background here, I just have tons of cards lying around. So getting those couple hundred cards out of my hands, out of my collection, out of sight, out of mind, it was kind of nice. It was nice dealing with that. And another pro of the site is that it gets your cards exposed to more buyers. And this is huge. It's something that you can't really get yourself on eBay because there's so much competition on eBay. You have to get your listing right. You have to get the titles right, descriptions right, photos right. COMC takes care of all that for you. They take the photos. They include the description, the standard description of what card you sent in. And the people that use COMC, I mean, there's tons and tons of people that use COMC. There's transactions happening all the time on the site. So your cards will get exposure. Another thing that's great about COMC is that the shipping costs and the packaging are phenomenal. So I sent in all 500 plus cards to COMC with one shipping cost to it. Now imagine if I had tried to sell all 300 plus of those cards individually, the shipping cost would just be immense. It would just be ridiculous to have to individually package and sell those cards and go to the post office, pay for the shipping on it, and just send out each card individually. That's a little ridiculous. But if I send out all 500 cards all at once, it's all taken care of. The shipping is done just like that, out of sight, out of mind. What's also great about the site is that once you sell a card and that credit hits to your account, you get that store credit. You can use that store credit to buy other baseball cards or other trading cards that you like, that you see on the site. And that's what I do. That's why I like COMC so much, is that it's really easy to sell cards and it's really easy to buy cards in that same manner. So it's almost like you're trading cards with a little bit of middleman fee in there, but it's kind of nice. It's a really great service. So some neutral takeaways. This one here, it's really ideal to sell cards that are between $5 and $50 on the site. And I'm going to break this down a bit further as to why I say $5 to $50. So 86% of the cards that I sold between my first $900 in sale were less than $5. I'm going to repeat that. 86% of the cards I sold were less than $5. And the average fee percentage for those cards was 36.5%. That is a lot of fees being tacked on to cards that are less than $5. But let's break this down even further. 14% of the cards I sold were greater than or equal to $5, and the average fee percentage was 10%. So that's really good. A 10% fee for cards that are greater than $5, that's really not that bad. Considering you only had to pay shipping one time to get all those cards there, and you didn't have to take photos of the cards. You didn't have to include descriptions. You didn't have to type anything up. You didn't have to do all these fancy, hey, look at this card. I got this fancy parallel, blah, blah, blah. COMC took care of that all for you. They did all the logistics, all the dirty work, and your card sold, and it was only a 10% fee. That's not bad. And let's compare it to eBay. So the eBay flat fee percentage is about 11.5% for trading cards. And that can fluctuate all the way up to 15%. So if you really think about it, if you're selling cards above $5, it's easiest to do COMC. But if you're doing it in a timely manner, it's probably best to do it through eBay. You can take that small percentage flat fee hit, whatever. But if you're really trying to sell cards for long term here and actually make some good profit out of it, selling cards that are $5 and above, send it to COMC. You'll make a good profit of it. Now, the reason I say that upper limit should be $50 is because once you submit a card that you value at $50 or more into COMC, they start to charge you a security fee. So the one Jacob deGrom card that I sent in, they started charging me a little bit of fee every now and then. I was like, what is this fee being charged for? It was a very, very small, it was like a couple pennies that was being charged. And I had to question what it was, but it was a security fee because the card was so valuable, or listed as so valuable. Luckily, it sold in time, so I didn't have to sit in their warehouse, and they kept having me charge me that security fee. But you just have to be aware that if you're selling cards $50 and up, they will hit you with that security fee, which is why I created that range, $5 to $50, perfect range to send in cards to COMC. So that's where I made the mistake initially. This big order that I sent in to COMC included mostly cards that are valued between $1 and $5. I mean, I would venture to say at least 95% of those cards were between $1 and $5. And so that's where this big fee percentage average fee percentage hit is really taking me back. I'm like, why is there so much fees being taken from me? It's because the cards I sent in are just not super valuable. But if I sent in cards that are only between $5 and $50, that fee percentage would be looking real nice and be looking really promising. So if we look at this Jacob deGrom card, it sold for $60 with a transaction fee of $3. So I got a credit of $56.99, which means that the credit awarded to me from that card was $56.49 because of that 50-cent submission fee, which means I had a 5.83% fee charge. That's pretty good. If you get a 6% fee charge on a card, that's really darn good. And you look at some of these other cards here, 7%, 8%, 9%, 10% for cards that are about $10 or so. I consider that to be really good, and considering COMC handles all the dirty work for you, that's really not that bad. So of this order, about 6% of my cards that I sold had less than the eBay flat fee, which is not a good look. It doesn't look good for COMC, but the lesson that I learned is that don't submit cards that are really not that valuable. That's kind of my breakdown of my first $900 in sales of COMC. This is my first time ever using COMC. I've been buying from them for a while. This is my first time actually selling on them, so I figured I'd actually do a stat breakdown to see what went wrong, what went right, what can I fix for the later submissions. I'm about to make about a couple thousand card submission to COMC once again. So I want to make sure I'm submitting the right cards at the right time, if I should use eBay or COMC or not. So I wanted to share this information with you guys. Hopefully you guys took something from this. If you have any sort of questions or comments, please comment them below. I would love to hear your feedback, where I went wrong, or if your opinions on COMC, if you use it, if you don't use it. I'd love to know why. But other than that, guys, this kind of wraps up the video. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this, please like and subscribe for more of these videos to come, and I will see you guys next time.